Hi everyone. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of the SpookNotes podcast, where we get academic about everything that goes bump in the night. My name is Blip, this is Snip, and on today's episode we are going to be talking about the Predator movie, First Impressions.
I think it's just called The Predator, not The Predator movie.
Well, it should be called that.
So this is Connor, and next to me is Marlayna.
And just in case you forgot,
my co-host. So we're coming at you guys with another First Impressions episode, because there's a lot of movies coming out now, and there will continue to be a lot coming out within the next 2 months or so. So be
kind of
ready
relating to horror movies, more or less, not just like movies and I'm sure there's movie. Well, I don't know what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, of course, related to horror movies, but it's that time of year. It's Halloween, so
yeah,
exactly.
Bitches.
So me and Marlene just saw The Predator.
We did
yesterday night,
and we were gonna record the podcast afterwards, but it was like super early in the morning.
It was like 1 a.m.
Yeah, and I'm like, no. I couldn't even walk. So we figured we wouldn't talk to each other for an entire day about the Predator. About the movie.
We still talk to each other.
Barely.
A little bit.
We went to Dairy Queen. So we had to make conversation.
Exactly.
So we just saw the Predator, and we're gonna talk about this stuff.
Yeah, so like you said, we haven't talked to each other about it, but Marlena, I guess now's the time. What did you think of The Predator?
I really liked it.
Yeah?
Yeah, you know what? It kind of exceeded my expectations for the film. Going into this movie, I heard a lot of, kind of not so great reviews on it. Mm-hmm. It's really shitty, and
I think it has I can't remember exactly, but I think it has a fairly low Rotten Tomatoes score.
Yeah. So, going into this movie, I was like, okay, it's gonna be shit, but, I was pleasantly surprised by the movie. Maybe it was just because we saw it so late at night and I just, my brain gave up and it was like, oh wow, this is the greatest movie ever made. But I don't think that's the case. I think it was actually a pretty good movie, mm-hmm. with the exception of a few things, but we'll get more into that later.
Yeah,
how do you feel about this movie?
Well, I'll just say first that I have a theory as to why. Well, first of all, I'll just say I liked it too. Mm-hmm. I liked it a lot. I didn't love it, but I liked it a lot. And I have a theory as to why that might be, and I'll talk about that a little later on. But no, I too liked it a lot, and obviously, like you, I heard kind of mixed things about the movie. And you saw that it didn't make too much money. So yeah, I was kind of going in hopeful because, we should say the big difference between me and you is that you've seen the first Predator, mm-hmm. the one with Arnold, which is the best one, obviously. But I have seen all of the Predator movies multiple times. I'm a huge Predator fan, a huge Alien fan, as we discussed earlier in one of our episodes. So for me, this was something I was really looking forward to because
it's like nostalgic in a way.
It is nostalgic, and it was kind of like a return to the old Predator movies in terms of the people behind the camera, because the guy who directed this movie and wrote it, I think, also wrote and starred in the original Predator. He was the guy with the glasses.
I remember you telling me that, yeah.
Yeah, the guy who makes all the jokes. He directed this movie.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder why it was such a funny film.
Well, yeah, he has done, Shane Black, he's done a lot of funny movies. Like, he's done Lethal Weapon and the third Iron Man movie. So that's kind of what he's known for. It's kind of like the combination of action and comedy, which is like what I think this movie was all about.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like his trademark style, So that was my first first impressions. Is I really liked it. So as we always do, we're gonna switch into spoilers right now. But before we do that, we usually tend to give a recommendation, a yes or no recommendation of you should see it if you haven't seen it yet. So Marlena, would you recommend that people see this?
Yeah, why not? It's a good, hearty family film.
I don't know if it's family film.
No, man, you gotta bring the kids to this one.
There's a lot of swearing in this movie.
That's fine.
Like every second line.
It's okay if somebody loses an arm or a leg. It's fine. Yeah, just kidding. Don't bring kids to this movie. You're freaking insane.
But yes, I would too recommend it as well. I think it's a fun movie for sure. All right, so now we're going to be talking about spoilers. So this is your spoiler warning. Get out if you haven't seen it.
Get out.
So,
cover your ears.
All right, so now with spoilers, Marlayna.
Yep.
Why don't we start with the things that we did like about it? So, what specifically did you really like about Predator?
I thought it was really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and it wasn't like cheesy funny. Like, it was actually like it made me laugh funny.
Oh yeah, I was looking at you, and I think it made us both laugh out loud like a few times.
Oh, you were looking at me in the movie. That's cute.
Because you were laughing.
I was watching the movie. I did not locate you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I thought it was funny as well.
That's good. That's amazing.
Was there any like thing in specific that you thought was funny?
Well, just
or,
like
characters?
just the characters, like, you know, because I don't know anyone else aside from Theon Greyjoy. I don't even know what the actor's name
you know,
is.
his name's Alfie Allen.
Is that the? Gosh, he was the one with like the beard, right? Kind of. Yeah. I thought he looked familiar.
What?
Wait, are we talking about the same guy?
I'm talking about the guy from Game of Thrones.
Oh my god, I'm talking about a different guy. Is that? Yeah, that sounds like his name.
No, I'm talking. Another guy that you would probably know is the one, not Nebraska, not the black guy who survives to the end.
Yeah.
But the other black guy, the one who makes all the jokes.
Is that Frozone?
Frozone's played by Samuel L. Jackson.
I'm just gonna leave this podcast right now.
Oh my god, no. It's Keegan-Michael Key, you know, from Key and Peele.
Oh my god, yes, no, you're right. I clearly don't know anything.
Yeah, he was really good in it. He was really, really funny. Yeah. What else did you like about it?
I don't know. I just like how they incorporated the kid in the movie. I thought that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't know. I just like the action and just even the design of the new alien was cool.
Yeah, like the ultimate predator.
Yeah, and I really, really enjoyed like the kills of the predator.
Oh yeah, like
I thought it was really gory and just perfect.
Yeah, like that was. I'd probably for me for the things I liked about it, I'd probably have to agree with those two things, pretty wholeheartedly. I thought that, you know, Shane Black writing the movie, I think he wrote it. Like he has like kind of like a really good eye or ear for like funny, and he always kind of includes these clever jokes and stuff in the movie. So I knew that was going to be a big part of it. Mm-hmm. But I was like, you know, really like surprised at just how funny it actually was. Like, I thought if it's just like, because sometimes if it's like just like a bunch of people swearing, that's not really funny. That's just kind of like,
yeah, you have to definitely have the right context.
Mm-hmm. But in this movie, because it was kind of like that combination of, you know, the serious like predator action, but then it was undercut by humor a lot of the time. I thought that was really funny.
Well, yeah, just like that one scene where they're at his house, right? Like the guys and whatever, and what's his name? Alfie, whatever.
Alfie Allen.
Yeah, is just like in the back, just eating pickle slices. Like, I just thought that was hilarious because it's such like a mundane thing. Like, everybody does it. Like, well, I don't know about everybody. I do it, but I saw that. I was like, that's actually pretty funny. So, I don't know.
Yeah, like if you're somebody who's more into kind of mixing that comedy with your action or sci-fi or horror, then this is probably the movie for you because it's very funny. And then as well, the other thing you touched on, the kills and the action in it, I thought was really well done because
it brought in classic kills, like, you know, with the laser and like the wire that zips them up to the. I don't know what's that called. Like, what's that kill called?
You mean just like when...
You know what I'm talking about, when it wraps their feet and then they sling upside down.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. No, what's it called?
I don't think it has a name.
Well, it should.
But yeah, I love the kills in it. They were really good, really gruesome. I'm glad that this movie was rated R because there was a ton of like really bloody kills. I mean, one of my favorites was just when, and this is why we're getting the spoilers, but when the ultimate predator kills the regular predator and rips his head right off. And
like his whole spine comes right out of his body.
Yeah.
Like, that's ugh.
Yeah, no, like it just kind of like that bright green blood. Yeah. Makes it kind of like visually interesting to look at.
No, absolutely.
And also the other thing that I really enjoyed about it was that not so much with the Ultimate Predator, because obviously he was so much bigger, so it's kind of hard. But with the regular Predator, like that was all practical effects. Like that was just like a guy in a suit. Like it wasn't CG at all or anything. And you can tell like they did a really good job.
Well,
with
just like the way it moves and everything is like more realistic,
Yeah.
as opposed to CGI.
Like he's running around and you kind of feel that weight. And I think they did a really good job with just like his face, like the mask, like his eyes and his little mandibles on his mouth and everything.
Mm-hmm.
He looked really good, and I think you can tell the difference between something that's CGI and something that's practical. Like it makes me think of last year when I saw the newest Alien movie.
Yeah.
That was like all CGI, and it just
it's not the
it just
same.
doesn't look as good.
No. Like you have to have something that's believable. That's gonna, really attract your audience. Like if it's all just like done by the computer, it's like, okay, yeah, it's kind of cool to look at, but it's just different,
Yeah, I always appreciate practical
Like
effects.
for instance, it's like when you think of like Jurassic Park,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like the very very first one when they had all the like the practical effects and all that stuff, and then if you're to see some of the movies now, it's just like there is such a difference,
Mm-hmm.
and it sucks. I don't know. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree with that opinion.
Mm-hmm.
So that was another thing I liked about the movie is that the practicality of it, and I think that at the end of the movie, at the end of the day, sorry, it was just a fun movie. Like it didn't take itself seriously. It gave you what you wanted in a Predator film: action, kills, characters that like while they may not be like really rich and deep in character depth and character building and development, they were interesting characters that were fun and that you liked.
Yeah.
Even the villain, I thought the villain guy, like the government guy, I can't remember his name. He was played by Sterling K. Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Even though he was like super evil and stuff, he was funny.
Yeah.
And you still kind of liked him.
That's true. Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's that comes back to that Shane Black thing. Like, all of his characters are always really good, and so that's what you care about in a Predator movie: good characters, good action, good kills.
Yeah.
So,
do you know if there's gonna be any other movies following this one? Because you said, well, like you're really into Predator and Alien, like me. They're okay, not so much, but I know you are into it, so.
well, I'll discuss that later on.
Oh.
Because I have something to say about that too.
Alrighty.
Well, okay. So, what were some things you didn't like about it?
I would have to say, probably within like the middle, going towards the end of the movie, it kind of was getting like a little boring.
Mm-hmm.
Like I find it like it was just dragging on in certain parts, and I'm like, oh, okay.
It was a little long.
Yeah, no, it was. That's why I was getting kind of bored. Like I definitely would say the first half of the movie is solid. Mm-hmm. Like there's nothing I would change about it. But once it starts dwindling to like the end of the film, it gets kind of like, okay, come on, like I just want this to like kind of end already,
mm-hmm. I definitely think it could be a solid 10 minutes shorter.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, cut down on some of that stuff.
Other than that, like, I don't know. I can't really think of anything that...
Well, I mean, for me, it comes down to... It's as simple as that, like, the actual plot of the movie isn't some, complex, groundbreaking, amazing plot that, with so many twists and turns and that kind of stuff. It's fairly simple, and it's nothing that will blow you away, but I think that the plot is almost like... It doesn't matter in these kinds of movies. Because, with the original Predator, the plot is also fairly simple, but that movie is really good.
Yeah, well, I think with these kinds of movies, you're going out to see action. Mm-hmm. You're not going to critically analyze this movie, like, is there deeper meaning within the Predator? Like, no, this movie isn't designed for that. It's mm-hmm. just designed for explosions, bloody kills, and aliens. Mm-hmm. So, and what you see is what you get, and that's exactly what it is, so...
I will say the one thing, though, that it's kind of hard about every single Predator movie after the first one, mm-hmm. is that the reason the first one works so well is because you as the audience member, you're kind of feeling like you're one of the soldiers in the movie because you don't know what's going on. Like you don't, especially the first time you see it, you don't know like what this thing is, like what it's capable of, what it can do, what it is doing, all this stuff. But every other Predator movie from there on, including this one, obviously, you know what the Predator is all about. You know what it can do and everything. So it's hard to have that kind of level of mystery and suspense in any other Predator movie after the first one.
Yep.
But I still think it does a good job of, like we said, doing those simple, basic things that you want in a Predator movie.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So now I'd like to quickly touch on the ending of the movie. Because I know you had asked about whether I think there'll be a sequel, right? So the ending of the movie, when he's in that lab after they had killed the ultimate predator and they had gotten that thing from the ship or whatever, and then they open it up and it's like a suit.
It's like a predator killer or something.
Suit, yeah. Like obviously, I think that it's setting itself up for a sequel in that, because why else would they have that at the end, right?
Yeah.
But I also know that this movie didn't really make a lot of money. So, I mean, that's obviously a big thing. And if a movie doesn't make money, it's not going to probably get a sequel. But it's still early days, so maybe it will make more money later on. So you just kind of have to see. My thing that I wanted to mention about the ending, though, is when they were opening up that pod and there was like that big suspense and the kid had been like, oh, it's the predator killer. What did you think it was going to be?
I thought it was going to be alien.
That's exactly what I thought too. I thought they were going to open it up and it would be an alien egg, and then a facehugger would come out or something. That's what
they just had a new Alien movie, right?
Last year.
Well, yeah. How did that movie end? Did it set itself up for another sequel?
It did, but it's not really in the same timeline because those movies are set in the future.
Oh, okay,
and even like on other planets and stuff.
Like I said, I haven't seen the new Alien movie yet, so I don't know. I know it's about Alien, but I've never seen it.
It doesn't have really any connection to this movie or at all. But I thought that this movie, like I said, when they had that thing and it was opening up and you could kind of see almost like a gooey substance, I'm like, oh, this is going to be an alien egg.
Well, even the shape of the thing kind of looks like the alien's head. Like, it's, like, long.
A little bit, yeah. So that's what I for sure thought it was going to be. And so I thought that would have been really cool because I know a lot of people don't like the Alien versus Predator movies, but I'm a really big fan of them. And I was like, wow, if they make an Alien versus Predator movie that's a sequel to this Predator movie, I was like, that would be amazing.
Well, yeah, because you're kind of tying in two franchises. Mm-hmm. That would be really good. But I guess
sadly it wasn't.
We're gonna, have to get used to the Predator killer with that freaking sergeant dude.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
He's like, yes, I am ready. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, so I don't know. I was a little bit disappointed by the ending. And I wished it had been an alien egg. So we're going back to something I was saying earlier. I have another theory about this movie. But first, before I talk about that, do you want to give our final scores for the movie?
Sure. What's our rating system?
It's out of 10. Let's say it's 10 ripped spines.
Okay.
How many ripped spines do you give it out of 10?
Like an 8.5.
8.5.
No, an 8. I'd give it an 8.
An 8?
Yeah.
All right.
What do you give it?
I'd give it a 7.5.
Oh wow, we're pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Again, it just comes down to, I don't think this is a movie that's going to blow anybody away with how amazing it is. But if you just want like a solid hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes that's fun, that is a lot of good kills and some good laughs, I don't know, you can't go wrong, I think, with this movie.
That's right.
So, okay, let's do the math here. So out of 20, that's 15 and a half.
Yeah.
Ripped spines out of 20, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's like a solid, like a 76.5%.
77.5.
I don't care. Quick math.
So anyway, so my final thing that I want to talk about. So last week we did the same thing, first impressions, but we did it of The Nun, right? Mm-hmm. The Nun we rated much lower than this movie. So would you say that this movie was better than The Nun?
Yeah, we just did the rating system. I gave it like an 8. Last one I gave like a 3.
So my thing, tying back to the beginning of this episode, do you remember how we kind of talked about expectations and how you had heard bad things about this movie, so your expectations were lower.
Yeah.
And how last week, when we were talking about The Nun, we were talking about how our expectations were so high for that movie because we like the other Conjuring movies. So, basically, what I'm trying to say is, do you think there's a correlation between how high your expectations are for something versus how much you like it? Like, what you expect out of it?
Absolutely. And based on that, what you're trying to say is we should go see the Slenderman movie because it was rated like -% Rotten Tomatoes.
Well, let me put it to you this way. If we see the Slenderman movie, and if I think at one point in that movie, at any point, at anything, if I'm like, wow, that's okay, then it's better than what I thought it would
be. Okay. That's our next fucking video, guys. Stay tuned.
But yeah, that's kind of just what I wanted to talk about, because expectation, I think, is a big thing when you go into movies, because, I mean, even as much as I love the Predator movies, you're right, like, my expectations were lower going into this, because I heard all those bad things about it. But when I came out, I was like, this wasn't bad. It was good, you know? And then, I mean, I guess the point of all this is the thing I'm leading up to, is what do you then think about when we eventually see Halloween?
Oh God, I don't even, literally, I want this movie just to be so perfect, and I feel like if it doesn't line up with my, like, I'm gonna be let down, so maybe I should just go in there thinking this movie's terrible.
But that's the hard part, is, like, expectations, especially for something like Halloween, can run so high.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I know, like, it was shown at the Toronto International Film Festival recently, and the first reviews for it came in, and I think on Rotten Tomatoes right now it has like an 85.
Okay.
So like really good, but not perfect.
Yeah.
There have been some people who said like there was definitely things wrong with the movie. So,
okay, you're always gonna have people like that, like just because they didn't direct it themselves, like, you know, someone else's perspective.
But it's just kind of something I thought I would bring up, something to keep in mind, and especially for the viewers too. If you're out there and you're going into a movie that you've never seen for the first time, that's why I always like to hear as little about something as possible before I go in to watch it, because
you were the one who just told me that, oh, Marlayna, I saw the reviews for this Predator movie. Like, what are you talking about?
Well, sometimes it's, you can't help it, but
whatever.
Yeah, expectations can play a lot on how much your enjoyment of a movie is. That's why I always say you got to watch a movie twice to see if you really like it.
That's true, except the Babadook. That's only a one-time deal type of situation.
Why, was it too scary?
No. If you watch it the second time, you know the twist. So, it's not the same.
That's true. Well, sometimes, you might like it better then, because...
no.
Alright.
It's a hard no.
Well, anyways, that's something to think about, expectations when going into movies. And those were our thoughts on The Predator.
Yeah, so I guess we're going to kind of wrap up this podcast, unless you have anything else you would like to add.
Go see The Predator.
Yeah, go do it.
It's not made enough money, but if we want a sequel, we gotta...
That's right, guys. Be the change you want to see.
It's all on you.
Yeah, no pressure. Yeah, so as always, if you want to find us, you can find us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube, all under the name SpookNotes. And if you have any comments, concerns, or future suggestions for any episodes, you can email us personally at spooknotes@gmail.com.
Let us know what you guys thought of the movie.
Yeah, we definitely love to hear your guys' opinions. They really matter to us.
Yes.
So, yes. On that note, don't forget to cite the SpookNotes.
Bye.
Bye.